I used to ride my bike around San Francisco at night looking for metal to scrap. I wouldn't steal people's copper gutters or steal from construction sites. I mainly would go looking in manholes out in the Presidio for old lead coat cable that was obsolete to pull, or runs of old dead obsolete communication line. One night, while hunting around in one of the places along the edge of Golden Gate Park, I found a long run of lead coat comm that stretched across several tall poles from the top of a hill down a valley and into the woods. So the next night, I took the tools I needed, went out on my caper. It was perfect on the top of a hill, off of a parking lot at the end of a dead-end road with no streetlights. It was probably around 3 in the morning when I got there. It was clear night, and the moon was bright enough to see by. The pole had climb bars that started at about 12 feet off the ground, so I had to sit down and fashion a rope with loops for footholds that I could toss over one of the climb bars so I could get up to them. As I was bent over trying to tie this together, I started experiencing what seemed like irrational fear. Now I've been in a lot of similar situations, in the middle of nowhere, by myself, in the middle of the night working, and I always found it calming. Sometimes I'd get a rush of adrenaline, fear of going to jail, or fear the rats that would try to climb up my leg while working in a deep manhole. I was experiencing terror. What I thought was the most irrational emotion at the time was shaking like a leaf and doing everything I could to shake it off. I was literally laughing at myself while trying to keep my hands steady enough to finish my rope ladder. I finally finished it and stood up. Did my best to shake off this ridiculous feeling. I went under the pole and started tossing the rope up, trying to loop it around a bar. Missed a few times, and when I finally got it, I saw a movement at the very top of the pole, probably 35 feet up. I see a head peering down at me. It was dark. What looked like dog staring over the edge of the pole suddenly leaned forward and fell right at me. I was frozen for a second and saw this thing drop towards me, then spread its wings. I was huge. It fell at me, opened its wings, banked, and did a full circle around the pole. At first I was scared it was going to dive bomb me. I crouched, then stood up to watch it circle around and fly off to the tree line. It flew slow, and I could clearly see it cross the valley into the trees maybe 200 yards away. Its wingspan had to be at least 6 feet. And its body was thick, looked like a greyhound dog with huge wings. I just assumed I'd seen a giant owl. Maybe it was hunting from the top of the pole. It was huge, and I figured any bird that big could really mess me up. I thought I might have pissed it off being in its territory and really didn't want it coming back at me, so I just left the rope hanging there, got on my bike and flew down the hill. This happened about 3 years ago, and until recently I've been pretty satisfied thinking it was a giant owl. But a few days ago I started researching owls and found out it couldn't have been an owl. The only bird it really could have been is a golden eagle, but there aren't any in San Francisco. I also have trying to figure out how I could have been so scared. Is it possible I was feeling what I thought was irrational fear, when really I was sensing this thing staring at me, debating how tasty I might be?